So Stephen A. Smith says, talking about January 6th. Now, I quote tweeted it, and I said, Stephen A. wouldn't be saying this if Trump lost the election. That's a fact. Stephen A. would not be saying it. Now, is it good that he's saying it? I mean, it's a net positive, but let's be real. Stephen A. 100% doesn't actually believe this. He's basically playing into what happened in the election, but let's listen to what he has to say.
The news comes amidst a bombshell report from the Justice Department that revealed the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground when the Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. The report says most of the informants engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. The Justice Department says only 3 of its 26 informants present had been instructed to observe potential domestic terrorist suspects on the day of the riot. The rest of the 23 appeared to have gone to the Capitol on their own accord. Upon hearing news of the report, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance posted the following on X, quote, "For those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago," end quote. Didn't hear anything about that for the election. Didn't hear anything about that when the quote-unquote insurrection was broached by Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. The belief that Donald Trump was a danger to democracy and using this as a profound, illuminating bullet point to make that case. And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence.
The evidence was always there, Stephen A. Like, good Lord, like even me in the beginning when I saw everything happening, like it definitely looked bad initially. But then you start to really look at things and you're like, what the hell is actually going on here? And then you start to see how the media manipulated it. And then you start to see how politicians started to manipulate it. And then we got even more evidence not long after. And then you heard that there was evidence they were keeping, they wouldn't release. And you're like, this whole thing is a complete and total disaster. Holy shit.
To Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that process is rigged. My big issue is that I'm really, really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way. I mean, I see Republicans like Megyn Kelly or Officer Tatum or Candace Owens or, the Sean Hannitys of the world. You know what I'm getting tired of? I'm getting to the Democratic Party. You know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off at every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right to make the case that the right had a monopoly on insidious.
Stephen A. is one phone call away from changing his opinion on literally any topic. As someone that has watched him for years in sports media, I'm telling you, he's one phone call away from changing his opinion to whatever the powers that be want him to say every single time.
This evil tendencies, corrupt tendencies, duplicitous, hypocritical, untruthful tendencies. And every time they made those accusations, we turn around and find out that at least some of them are guilty of the same shit. I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick of all of it.
So mark my words. And of course, there's no way to prove it outside of the fact that if you've paid attention to this, if Trump doesn't win this election, Stephen A. Smith would have never, ever mentioned January 6th. He would have never brought it up. He would have never said this. And he would have been talking about how great it is for America that Kamala Harris has been elected and all that bullshit. 1,000%.
I'm sick of all of it. They've actually made Donald Trump look like he was right.
Because he was.
Instead of them.
Because he was. He was always right. He was always right. That's just a fact of the matter. But yeah, I saw this and this tweet has this tweet has 101,000 likes. It's got 5 million views, by the way. You know what's weird about it? You know how I was thinking about this the other day because I guess like a while back, like there was rumors that Twitter was going to get rid of public likes and shares and all of that, quote tweets. It's interesting because like I don't know how everyone views this, but like as a creator, I don't really look at likes on a video on YouTube as a determining factor of how much traction it gets. I only look at the views. But on Twitter, I only look at the likes to determine how much traction it has and not the views or the impressions that goes with it. And it's really weird how we operate differently on things like that. You know what I mean? I've never really I was thinking about that the other day, and it's interesting how so if they do get rid of public likes and public tweet numbers and all that, how will it change our perception of posts that we're seeing on social media? And I'm not sure I have the answer to that question, but it's interesting to say the least.